Hello, you are listening to From Maclay to Zama. I'm your host, Karen Miller. This podcast is about the adventures of two women from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, who worked for the U.S. Army at Camp Zama, Japan, from 1953 to 1955. Their stories are told through hundreds of letters written home. Episode 28, Letters 80 to 83. Before we get started, I want to talk a little bit about the last episode. There was an air raid situation and a code yellow, and one of my friends found an old air raid document that said that code yellow is supposed to be kept secret from civilians. Another friend who served in the Air Force said that he was surprised that civilian employees weren't told what the codes meant, but I just thought that it was interesting, and it's just different than what we're used to being told more or being given more information most of the time. So one of the things that I'm really enjoying from the letters is the expressions that Bern and Peg use. Many of them I'd only ever heard in old movies. I was kind of surprised about the comments Peg meant, though, when she started telling people in Japanese to drop dead, an expression I don't think we would use nowadays. The Japanese translates to go ahead and die, which is even worse, which seems rather harsh. I'm hoping it's our equivalent of buzz off to guys that are being jerks. I had to look up the movie So Big. The only thing I really know about Jane Wyman is what she looks like, and that she was Ronald Reagan's first wife. The movie is a Western set in the 1890s. I can see why Bern liked it. The title comes from the nickname of the lead character's son and deals with the importance of art, education, and how women had to struggle to survive when they were on their own. I also tried to find the article referred to in these letters called The Most Expensive City. It was in the Saturday Evening Post. I found a copy of the magazine that I could buy for $300, but no copy of the article. And but it was about how expensive it was to live in Tokyo. So I checked, and today it is still more expensive to live in Tokyo than any other Japanese city, but significantly less than the average U.S. city. I also learned everything I know about the Army from watching M.A.S.H, and I at some point knew what the different ranks meant, but there's a mention of a full bird colonel, and it is a military colonel's rank above a lieutenant colonel and below a brigadier general. So impressive. The modern day insignia for a colonel is a silver eagle with a U.S. shield on its chest and holding an olive branch in one talon and a bundle of arrows in the other. The eagle insignia led to the informal term full bird colonel. So there. And just so you know, one of my favorite movies is White Christmas, which came out in 1954. So it was probably being filmed at the same time as the letter. I was intrigued by the detail that Bern went into about special services. I also didn't know that's where she was working. She talks very little in her other letters about her job. Seems like the branch would be more up Peg's alley. Although White Christmas was set in World War II, I wonder if having Wallace and Davis perform instead of the usual USO stateside celebrities was inspired by the initiative that Bern describes in these letters that's being instituted by her office at the point when she's there. Okay, I got another one for you. How many of you have ever heard the term shekel used for money? I've heard that many times and assumed it was some kind of foreign money. Never really thought about it. But I found out that it was the name for ancient Mesopotamian coins, so it would have been in the Bible, and then also current Israeli money. Knowing how religious my Aunt Bernice was, I believe, that she used it because of its use in the Bible. And finally, sadly, Blondie, the Cocker Spaniel, seems to be dying, and they're trying to prepare Bern and Peg for that. I've thought about her so much since I started this project. It makes me think of my mom's last dog, Daisy, and how soft and beautiful she was. I know that Blondie inspired my mom's love of Cocker Spaniels. I also noticed that Peg didn't correspond as much during this time period. I wonder if she's upset about the dog or if it might be something else. It was rare for her to go more than a week without writing to her parents, and right now it's been almost 2 weeks. It seems like Bern's writing more. Is she covering something up? So here we go with letter 80. Written the 9th of February, 1954 from Camp Zama. Dear Mother and Daddy. Oh, bye Peg. Dear Mother and Daddy, well, here I go again on a letter during business hours. But if they want me to do anything, all they have to do is say so. I'm available. Nothing too exciting is going on these days. Yesterday, I got letters from you, Betts, Barb, and Sally Conrad. I guess you're all having fun with the Buffalo kids these days, and I'd sure love to see them. Do they wear the jackets we sent? Sis still hasn't written since Christmas, so we don't know whether they like the stuff or not. In Betts' letter, she said I was a character, and that they had a million laughs over my last letter. I can't remember what I said, but sometimes I read them to Bern before I send them, and she laughs, so I guess you would laugh too. Barb always has funny things to say, and I can just picture her doing the crazy things that she does, and I can hear her telling me about them. We went to Tokyo last weekend. Bern didn't come in until Sunday because she had a date with Beaner, Red Dog's roommate, on Saturday night. We took more pictures on Sunday and went shopping. I bought a kimono, really pretty, but as it was the weekend before payday, I didn't have too much money to spend frivolously. I can just hardly wait to show you everything we bought. It will probably cost me a small fortune to have all this stuff shipped home, but I guess it will be worth it. Speaking of coming home, our latest idea is to stay until August or September because Jeanette and I want to climb Mount Fuji, and it isn't open until after the 1st of July. Some people say we must simply climb that big rock, and other people say we have rocks in our heads for even thinking about it. There are 8 rest stations on the mountain, and you can ride by horseback up to the 7th station, which is what we plan to do. However, dozens of things can happen between now and then, as far as when we're coming home. So we'll just have to wait and see. A lieutenant in the office got a letter from Dottie Edwards yesterday, and she is leaving for Germany to work with the Air Force in about 3 weeks. She went home at the end of the first year, you know. So evidently it doesn't matter whether or not you've completed your agreement to be recruited for other theaters. Something to think about, huh? People tell us that the Air Force is much better to work for than the Army. However, this job is still silly. Yesterday I was pretty busy. Colonel Van Tool got mad at me because Colonel Francher dictated to me, and I had to do his dictation first because he was leaving on a trip. Colonel VT had dictated first, and instead of waiting for half an hour or so, he picked up the correspondence and stomped out of the office and took care of it in person. Oh, we just had an earthquake. But I made him laugh about something or other before he left for the day, so he's okay now. Honestly, trying to keep 6 bird colonels happy is a job in itself, besides tangling with the ARs and SRs and all the silly regulations, which are part and parcel of the Army. Bern has some good news to tell you, but I won't give away her surprise. Ann Engel isn't at all pleased with the way things are since she returned. She's PO'd because they sent me back here instead of letting me stay with her up front, and she's gotten a lot of work that has little expedite tabs on it, so she's far from being in a good mood these days. Shouldn't be surprised if she quits M.A.S.H. We ate in a Chinese restaurant called Forbidden City on Sunday in Tokyo, and that does it. No more of this Oriental junk for me. I ordered American chop suey, thinking it would be like the chop suey we eat at the place beside the Colonial. But have no. Gad, what a wasted 200 yen. In my letter from Sally, she said that she had her Christmas package on her desk at work, and one of the girls she works with said, I know a peg harnish when I see it. It turned out that it was Gloria Reniker. Small world, huh? I'm going to be sure to get something to bring home for Sally because she's written very faithfully and sent us stockings for Christmas. I think I'll go down to the snack bar and get something to eat. I'm starved. This is another dull letter, but I really don't have anything interesting to write. How's the neighborhood these days? Which refrigerator did you trade with Mark? Did they borrow any of my money? Did Marky say he got a letter from me all his own? I'm wearing my hair in my exotic updo these days. It's too long to look nice just hanging, and I don't exactly feel like getting it cut yet. It's either the water or the shampoo, but my hair looks like straw when it's just hanging. The natives turn around and stare at me, but I think they like it because I heard a couple people say "steki ni," which means nice. We learned how to say drop dead in Japanese. It's shin jamai. Now, when we want to tell someone to do just that, we bow and smile and say shin jamai dozo, and they think we're saying something nice about them. Of course, we don't say it to the natives, but we're quite certain that they say far worse about us sometimes. Well, I don't even have anything to ramble on about, so I might as well close. Take good care of yourselves and give the kids and Blondie a kiss for me. I can just see you two kissing Blondie every time I tell you to. Is she still the same? Love, me. February 12th, 1954. Letter 81 from Peg. Dear Mother and Daddy, the colonels are all away today, and the nurse and the dietitian have gone to a command conference, so I'm writing letters, so there. I do have a bit of work for the nurse, but it can wait. I just wrote to Barb and try to get back a few paragraphs off to you before they come back. It's raining today, but we have no complaints because the weather was just lovely for the last week. It's been nice and warm, just like spring. I rather imagine that we'll have more winter weather, though, and that this is just a sneak preview, but it certainly was nice. I had a real grand surprise yesterday. It was payday, and when I got my check, it was for $97.49, the amount I received before my allotment is taken out. I called payroll, and they said it was right, that there were 3 paydays last month, and the allotments were only taken out twice a month. So like a thrifty little ass, I banked $25 of it, and I think I'll still have enough for next weekend when Bern, Jeanette, and I have reservations at Kurosawa for Washington's birthday. I had visions of myself squandering all that extra money on some more Japanese junk, but I resisted. Besides, I've been drawing out $5 or $10 every so often, and it was a good chance to replace some of that in my account over here. We want to go to Kyoto in the spring, and we'll need at least $50. I'm going to make an honest effort to be able to do it without going below $225 in my account over here. It costs $210 to go from here to the West Coast by ship the way we came over. And since we plan to fly cross-country, that will take another $100, besides paying for the luggage. So you can see why I resisted the temptation to have a buying good time on my extra money. If possible, I want to be able to make the trip home without having you send me any money from my account over there. How much do I have now, by the way? Did you get the TV yet? I forgot to tell Barb, but I sure hope she doesn't succumb to the lure of those lousy programs to the extent that she lets her housework go. Mother, you'll probably be the same way, though, although it sure takes a good deal of imagination for me to see you letting your housework go, to listen to some half-baked somebody or other trying to sell you does or rinso. I would just love to see the kids. Bern told me that I used to wrap everything up just like Leanie does, although I don't remember it. Many times we say that we wish we had Marky over here because he would be so interested in everything. I hope they still remember us, especially Marky, because Leanie was too small when we left. I don't think she'll remember us at all. We have a new colonel in the office now, Colonel Forsey, and what a character. He's going to Korea for the first time tomorrow, and you never in your life heard such goings on. He has made dozens of calls to Korea, so that you'd think he was the first person to ever go there. He is supposed to make a speech on the surgery of pulmonary tuberculosis, and has invited Sigmi Ray, for you, that's the former president of South Korea, and General Taylor, the commanding general of the 8th Army, to hear it. Did you ever hear of such foolishness? I hope they don't show up, but he's just the type of person to get what he wants. He's taking a correspondent from the Saturday Evening Post with him, the fellow who wrote The Most Expensive City in the World, Tokyo, to do an article on the medical assistance program in Korea. You'd think he was a VIP from the way he wants everything. The favorite saying in the office these days is, when is he going and how is he going? Because this bird made all the arrangements himself and didn't tell anyone about it. We'll be back later. Work to do now. Everyone's out to lunch and I'm holding down the fort. The sun came out about an hour ago and it's just beautiful, real spring. Anyhow, this Colonel Forsey now has the bright idea to divide our office into 6 separate offices. If you could see how big our office is now, you would know how ridiculous that idea is. It will mean that Elizabeth and I will sit in a little place with no ventilation in the summer. Besides, we'll be running ourselves ragged, tearing through each little office to tell them they're wanted on the telephone. Oh well, maybe the engineers won't approve it. I certainly hope so. I'm so glad that today's Friday. The only thing that would make it better is if I would get some mail. When I worked up front, it seemed as though I got mail every day. Now I only get some on Mondays. Well, for not saying anything, I sure made a lot of tracks on this paper. Tell Pete that I know I owe her a letter, and I will write next weekend and tell her about the weekend. The 45 is having its sayonara party on Saturday night, and the three of us are going. Sunday night, one of the girls is having a birthday party for a friend and has invited me. It will be at the Golden Dragon. One of my buddies is going home by ship on Sunday, so I'm planning to see her off. I guess I'll have pretty much to report by the time I write again. Tell everyone to write. If that sis doesn't write soon, I won't bring her anything home with me, so there. I'm so anxious to know the latest news with them about their new home, Mark's job, and what they're doing in Harrisburg. She ought to have Tokusan gossip to tell me because she always hears more in a day than I hear in a month. Bye now. Be good and take good care of yourselves. Mother, be sure to tell me if your knees are better in warmer weather. Is Daddy's cold better? Love, the redhead. Letter 82 is from Bern, written February 12th, 1954. Hi, kids. I'm warning you in advance this is going to be a scoshy note and very dull. There ain't much doing, and I'm completely uninspired as far as writing my reactions to anything or anybody. Maybe better next time, no? The surprise which Peg mentioned that I have for you is the fact that I finally got a promotion. I am in the same job, but as a GS4, which means a fair increase in salary for the same duties. I was going to quote figures, but we lent the wage schedule to another office, and I can't check on it. This all came about because I finally gathered up enough nerve to ask for a letter of availability so I could transfer to another section. This startled the power that be to such an extent that they opened their eyes, blinked, said to themselves, "We can't let such a good kid go," and proceeded to rewrite my job description so it would qualify for a raise. You have my permission to be skeptical, although, actually, of course, I'm glad to get a promotion. I would rather transfer to another section, preferably transportation. But since they have been so nice, I won't agitate any further. Perhaps someday this training in personnel work will come in handy, although I do not plan to continue in civil service after this tour. One of the very best features of the Special Services program is the entertainment and music branch. 2 gals are in charge who are extremely talented themselves and have exceptional executive and organizational ability as well. One was director of SPARS, the Women's Coast Guard Service to You, band during the war. The other has had her own radio show in Texas for a long time before joining Special Services. It is she who organized the present excellent program of entertaining the troops. Formerly, at the great expense of Uncle Sam bringing over many USO units from the States, which involved many problems because of the celebrities' temperaments, a big headache in many ways. About 2 years ago, this gal conceived the idea of scouting talent among the troops themselves, putting the qualified people through a training program and giving them the benefit of experiences of the top staff people in the entertainment field, organizing shows or programs of their own, and then sending them back to their particular outfits to scout for and train other guys. When a workshop, as the training experience is called, is completed, the unit puts on a public demonstration of their show. I have seen several of these, and they're of excellent quality. Recently, this branch of Special Services acquired their own building here at camp. The opening was held on Wednesday night, and the entertainment was tops. It was the usual vaudeville type of thing, a dancer, a singer, male chorus, a magician, piano player, accordion, saxophone, and electric guitar numbers, as well as music by the entire band. But the quality of it was the thing which impressed me the most. Talented kids, very well trained, have every bit as much to offer as big names from the States. Please draw the rest of the necessary money from my account to pay this darned income tax. If this should make the account go below the $50 mark, perhaps you could advance a few shekels just until next pay, when I will send another money order. After you write the check, will you please send the whole works to the the Collective Internal Revenue, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Thank you. That's all for now. The check should be made out for $84.10. Love, Bern. Letter 83 from Bern, written February 23rd, 1954. Dear folks, just came back from a very dull but restful weekend. We spent the holiday at another special services hotel in the mountains above Tokyo. Ice skating and skiing were the featured attractions. I wanted to try the skating, but the ice was very rough and the weather was colder than anything I've ever encountered. Wow, that's saying a lot. Skiing on a beginner's slope might have been fun, but you had to furnish your own skis, so that let me out. As a result, we just rested, read, ate, and slept. Takusan doll. Last week and this one will be extra busy for both Peg and I. Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we have classes for gray ladies from 6:30 till 9:30. Fridays, we usually feel like going to a dance somewhere, or if we're real lucky, maybe we'll actually have a date. So that leaves only Tuesday night for hair washing, letter writing, drawer cleaning, nail polishing, etc. However, after this week period, we will be committed to only one night a week, gray lady work at the hospital, and our schedule will be very relaxed again. So much free time, in fact, that I even occasionally get tired of reading. Can you imagine that? I will be very glad when warm weather actually arrives to stay. We've been having a brief promise of it, and the plum blossoms manage to stay unfrozen by some small miracle. Irma Bonowitz writes from Miami, Florida, where she is having her usual vacation fling, that Pastor Warrens has resigned from the Australian home and is getting his master's degree in social work at the University of North Carolina. She will be working for a new superintendent and his wife when she returns and is very uncertain how she will like it. The intermission board would like her to finish her education and get her master's degree also, but she can't become enthusiastic about that. She'd like to make a change, but hates to leave the children, especially when Pastor Warrens is so recently gone. Do you think that Irma will ever arrive at a settled condition of the mind? Your story about the cat situation at Tom and Helen's was amusing. We too have a cat living in the billet. Unfortunately, this cat howls all the time. Its mistress is away, and one of these days it's going to be found dead in the shower. Compliments of me. It lives just down the hall from me, and that everlasting meowing is nerve-wracking. It reminds me of a baby crying, and I think I must go do something about it. Can you tell I'm not a cat lover? Peg is getting to be very good at taking pictures with our new camera. Katie Strawn, a school teacher friend, gave her expert instructions, so I have left the picture taking to her department. One of these days she will teach me. We received the first slides back, and although we have not yet seen them on a screen, they appear to be quite clear and good. Katie says they were excellent. One of these evenings we will gather in her room and she will let us use her projector to look at them. Think of the picture shows we will give you folks. Of course, you know that we both feel real bad about Blondie, but I suppose it is inevitable that she will go the way of all good doggies. Try not to feel too badly about her, and don't let her suffer a long time. At this exact moment, it's difficult to concentrate on this letter because the special services officer who accompanied Marilyn Monroe to Korea is in the next office giving his report to the colonel, and I'm trying to eavesdrop. Did I tell you we got a new top boss here? He is a spit and polished military man and seems to really know his stuff. I believe it will be a pleasure to work with him. Tomorrow at 4 o'clock, we are having a little sayonara party for the 3 majors from the outfit who are sailing for home next week. One of them is Betty's and my boss, and although he's not well liked by the rest of the office force, he has been absolutely fine to work for, and we will really miss him. I was scared to death of him at first, and now we have a really good relationship that's casual and friendly. Maybe if I live long enough, I'll eventually get over being just plain stupid about people. Last night I saw a good movie called So Big with Jane Wyman and Sterling Hayden. She's an excellent actress, and the picture really had something to it. I just know both of you would like it. Daddy, you are really a character. Only you would have thought of that business about the records. It's too bad they can't use them. Perhaps later. As you can see, I don't have anything really interesting to say, only a hodgepodge of comments on whatever comes into my mind. However, if you're not like If you are like me, I know you would rather have that kind of letter than nothing at all. So here it is. Much love, Bern. I hope you're enjoying the podcast, and if you are, please subscribe in Spotify. On Apple Podcasts, hit the plus button in the top right-hand corner and rate. This will help my listeners find my podcast more easily. You can access the show's website at www.FromMcClayToZama.com, where I posted photos and links from the episodes. The podcast is now available on iHeartRadio, Pandora, Patreon, and Amazon as well. New episodes will be available each Friday morning. The letters were written by my aunts Bern and Peg, transcribed by me. I write and record the show and have created the artwork and original music. Our producer is Zeke, our sound engineer is intern Sylvie, and the security is provided by intern Frey. Thanks to my great-grandparents, John and Helen, who loved us all and thought it was a good idea to save the letters. All rights reserved, 2024.